So, Kim Possible, are you having trouble finding my secret lair? Wait, you're not Kim Possible.
Dude, I think you have the wrong number.
Ugh! Curse this infernal contraption! Shigo! I can't figure this thing out! Shigo! Shigo!
Well, I didn't want to talk to you either. Hello and welcome to another episode of Cartoon Breakdown. I'm your host, the Animator. 1995 has always been a good year for me, and it was my favorite summer, and it was the year I created one of my more original characters at the time. A redhead named Linnea. At first, she was supposed to be an analogy for me, but grew into something more as I started watching other shows like Dragon Ball and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. As I continued to watch the shows, I adapted some of the ideas from them that I happened to like into my character. I wanted to create a cartoon based around Linnea. Unfortunately, I didn't have the slightest clue as to how to go about it at the time, so I kept on going and kept on drawing. Imagine my surprise when in 2002, Disney came out with a series that featured a redhead very much reminiscent of my own character. I didn't want to like the show when I watched it, and I went in with the idea of hating it. But much like a lot of things that are good, I grew to love the series and saw it for what it really was. It was a show that was very much reminiscent of the time, coming in the latter half of the women empowerment phase in television and movies. Kim Possible started as the series creators Bob Schooley and Mark Corkle learned that Disney Channel was interested in developing shows with ordinary children in extraordinary circumstances. The two began work on the idea one day when they were in an elevator. McCorkle stated, "Kim Possible, she can do anything." And coming back, Schooley replied, "Ron Stoppable, he can't." And that's how the idea for the show came about. And here, we thought nothing good came from elevators. The show was going to be focusing on Kim Possible as the lead, and Ron was going to be the funny man. Eventually, they came up with the idea of all the other characters, such as Rufus and Wade. The show was born out of the idea as there are few animated series with strong female leads. Both Schooley and McCorkle wanted to create a show that had a character that their daughters could look up to. They were heavily influenced by their own childhood heroes like James Bond and Captain Kirk. They wanted a character that their daughters could idolize in much the same way they did with James Bond and Captain Kirk. Despite Kim being a strong female lead, this didn't help her when she was up against one of her crushes. And unlike other cartoon shows, Kim Possible wasn't a superhero and had no superpowers. She didn't have a secret identity like other characters did, and everybody knew that she was saving the world on a regular basis. Schooley and McCorkle wanted Kim Possible and her crime-fighting abilities to be drawn from real-life activities, such as cheerleading and gymnastics, something real children could do if they wanted to. They wanted both Kim and Ron to be relatable to children of all ages. The funny thing is that Kim Possible's main foe, Dr. Draken, and his sidekick Shigo mirrored her own relationship with Ron, in that the guy wasn't so smart, and the girl was the brains of the operation. Even though Ron was the comic relief, they did develop his character as the series progressed. In fact, in Season 3, he started to succeed more than he failed, and in this way, he became more of a partner to Kim rather than a sidekick. Another thing of note is that the creators had always intended for Kim and Ron to become a couple. However, they didn't want to write the two in a relationship for fears of what happened between Sam and Diane and their relationship on Cheers. However, they did write it into the movie So the Drama, and Kim and Ron would hook up at the end, seeing as they thought it was going to be the series finale, and a good way to send the show off. They were completely taken aback when fans of the show were able to convince Disney to fund a fourth season, and so they were backed into a corner to write the two in a relationship. They didn't want to go through any of the tropes that had happened in other shows, such as characters breaking up and getting back together every other week, and they also wanted to skip past the lovey-dovey stage so that way they didn't alienate younger viewers. There are other changes in the fourth season that were interesting, such as Wade coming out and joining Kim and Ron on their adventures more often, and the twins getting into Kim's high school as fellow students. Schooley and McCorkle were heavily involved in the design process, most notably with Kim herself. They wanted Kim to look like an appealing character, and Ron would be the more goofy appealing character. In fact, earlier designs for Kim Possible made her look like Laura Croft until Disney Channel abandoned that concept to make her look more like a 14-year-old girl. Voicing the cast was Christy Carlson Romano as Kim Possible and Will Friedle as the voice of Ron Stoppable. Rufus was voiced by Nancy Cartwright, surprisingly, and the tech-savvy Wade was voiced by Taj Mowry. Other voices of note were Dr. Draken, voiced by John DiMaggio, and his better half, Shigo, voiced by Nicole Sutherland, as well as Monique, voiced by Raven Simone. Season 1 of the show started June 7, 2002 and ended May 16, 2003 with 21 episodes. Season 2 started July 18, 2003 and ended August 5, 2004, adding 30 more. Season 3 started September 25, 2004 and ended June 10, 2006 with only 14 episodes. Here is where you would have the movie, so the drama, and it was supposed to be a series end, as I stated earlier. However, Season 4 started February 10, 2007 and ended September of that year, adding 22 more episodes, leaving the show a total of 87 episodes. As of right now, there's only one way I can think of seeing the series, and that's to buy it on Amazon for $2 an episode. The only DVDs of the series I can find are Seasons 1 and 2, plus So the Drama, which means the only way to see the rest of the series is to actually pay for it. I hope this gets rectified as Disney comes out with their streaming services, and hopefully releases the entire series for members to watch. I have to admit, I didn't watch the fourth season as I was entirely creeped out by Ron and Kim's relationship. I was liking the idea of the series having a main female protagonist and a main male protagonist that didn't have them in a will they, won't they situation. Sadly, that didn't happen in the end as they wound up together. But seeing as how the show's creators wanted them to wind up together, it can be forgiven. If this was your first episode of Cartoon Breakdown, welcome! I would appreciate it if you would check out my channel and subscribe, as well as watch my other videos as I have plenty more to say about other cartoons. As always, I'm your host, the Animator, and this was Cartoon Breakdown. Chicken nugget biscuit, nugget and a biscuit. Nugget biscuit, nugget and a biscuit. Nugget biscuit, nugget and a biscuit. Dip it all in mashed potatoes. Nugget biscuit, nugget and a biscuit. Nugget biscuit, nugget and a biscuit. Nugget biscuit, nugget and a biscuit. Dip it all in mashed potatoes. Dip it all in mashed potatoes. Then dip the mashed potato, gob chicken nugget biscuit in a barbecue sauce. Mmm, yum, yum, gimme!